What's up, everybody? Good Thursday. It's the time of the week again for the rooting guide for the Seahawks in week number 2. And I know it seems a little bit dubious that we're talking about stuff like this when the Seahawks played the way they played last week. Like, we should be focusing only on rooting for our team and we should be ignoring all of this stuff. I understand that some people are going to have that mentality, and it's a good mentality to have, but we're going to think positive here. We're going to believe until the belief is all gone that these results can affect us. So, with that being said, let's take a look at this schedule for week 2 and figure out what the Seahawks should be hoping happens. Um, Thursday night, we got Vikings Eagles, which I actually think was the Thursday night game in week 2 last year. And I think this one's pretty obvious. The Vikings, I think they made it fairly obvious week 1. They're not going to be that good this year. I wasn't expecting them to be very good this year anyway. And Philly didn't exactly look dominant either. I realize that, but anytime the Eagles can be handed a loss that's probably the preferred path. So we're rooting for the Vikings here. Then we get to Sunday, and obviously Seahawks Lions speaks for itself. I'm not going to talk about that. We got Packers Falcons. So both teams looked pretty good week 1. I'd say the Packers probably looked a little better, but I think it's really too early to say which team is going to be a bigger problem down the road, like which team is actually going to be a playoff threat. Both teams are in divisions that are not really that great. Both teams, if they're just a little bit better than expected, can make a run at things, but I think both teams are more likely than not going to be in the final playoff race. So it just kind of depends on your perspective here. Who would you rather have win? I don't think there's a strong rooting interest here at all. We don't play either team. Yeah, I can't really think of an angle here, guys. It doesn't affect draft picks. Just a game to watch. CBS, we've got Raiders, Bill. I'm sorry, not CBS. I don't know why I said CBS. 10 a.m. start time, Raiders and Bills. This is another one where it's kind of hard to figure out. Raiders, Bills, is there any angle that I can come up with? We don't play either team this year. There's no real draft pick stuff at stake. Like we the Broncos, I guess you could say like we might have the Broncos third round pick, so therefore we want the Raiders to win. So like it's super thin. And there are going to be quite a few games this week where I'm just going to say it. It's super thin. So root for whoever you want to in this game. Raiders, Bills, whoever you like more. It's up to you. Another 10 a.m. start. We got Ravens, Bengals. I guess we're playing the Bengals in I think week 6. I guess you'd rather have them stack some wins to reduce the amount of desperation they're going to feel for that week 6 game. But that's really about it. Again, there's just not a lot here. A lot of these early matchups are AFC versus AFC, and it's just hard to find. It's just difficult to figure out where the rooting interest should lie. The only thing I can come up with here is we want the Bengals to bank some wins so they're not going into that week 6 game at like 2-3 or something, and they are just desperately scrapping to save their season, and we run into a buzzsaw. Because regardless of what we saw last week, I do think that Bengals team will probably be good this year. Chargers, Titans, another AFC versus AFC. God dang. I don't really know what to say about this. This is another kind of a tough one. Like, the Chargers are in the Broncos division. Do we want the Chargers to win because it'll ruin the Broncos morale and make our draft pick better? Like that's how far you have to reach. That's how far you have to reach to find some kind of a rooting interest here, I think. I guess I want the Chargers to win because I picked them to go to the Super Bowl, and I don't want to embarrass myself even more with my with that prediction. So if they start 0-2, that's going to be a pretty bad start. But yeah, I really don't have a heck of a lot there. Another 10 a.m. start, Bears versus Buccaneers. I don't think either of these teams are going to be that good, but I guess you just want to have these teams kind of meet in the middle. You want these teams to beat up on each other so none of them has a great record. You want them all to kind of end up in the middle. You don't want one team to like rise up too high above the rest. you want them all kind of jockeying and jostling around in the middle. So the Bears lost week 1, so I guess we want the Bears to win. Buccaneers won, so I guess we want them to lose. That's best I can do there. Another 10 a.m. start. We got Chiefs, Jags. Um, we don't play either team this week. Um, yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing for this one, guys. Again, the Chiefs are in the Broncos division, I guess, but that's not a real rooting interest. That's just like at that point you may as well like come up with some random lottery ticket related reason why you're rooting for one team over the other. It's just completely random at that point. So do what you will in that game. We got Colts Texans. What is up with all these AFC teams in the early window? There's so little going on for the Seahawks here, but at the very least we can say the Texans have given their first round pick to the Cardinals. So we kind of want the Texans to win some games because of that. Now, if you are somebody who wants the Colts to keep losing so they have to trade away some of their players, and maybe the Seahawks can get involved on a DeForest Buckner or Grover Stewart swap, you probably want the Colts to lose anyway. I'm a little bit off that right now. I'm kind of... What happened last week has me wondering if a player is going to make anything better right now for these Seahawks on defense. But if you're still on that wagon, then I guess you should be rooting for the Texans anyway. But yeah, that Arizona pick situation makes it pretty clear. We want Houston to win some games this year. Now we're down to the 1 o'clock slot, the 105 slot. We got 49ers Rams. I mean, as much as we're all sick of listening to Rams fans over the last week now, half a week, much as we're all tired of it, you know, deep down, I think that you would rather have the Rams start 2-0. If the Rams start 2-0, that means they might finish like 5-12 or 4-13. I do not think that is going to be a good team this year, even if they start 2-0. Now, they beat the Niners, then at least you're going to have to start wondering, right? Because they always lose to the Niners, even when they're good. But I still think it's the preferred outcome. The Niners looked dominant week 1. We don't need to see a team that good going forward. So yeah, I guess we're rooting for the Rams here. Not going to be fun, but you got to do it. Another 105 star, Giants Cardinals. Honestly, I'm going to continue to gamble on the predispositions that I had before the season started. I think the Cardinals are going to be fighting hard to win even a single game this year. So I'd rather have them bank a few wins so they take themselves out of the Caleb Williams sweepstakes or the number 1 pick sweepstakes. Even if it's not Caleb, it would be somebody really good or some really valuable asset. So I guess I'm rooting for the Cardinals, and until they bank a few wins, I'm probably going to keep rooting for them. And if the Giants do become a team that gets involved in the wild card race, I'd rather they have more losses. Now, with the way the Giants looked in week 1, you can't say they're really going to be part of any kind of wild card race, but you can't say that about the Seahawks right now either, so we got to continue to think about that kind of stuff. 125 now, we got the Jets and the Cowboys. Obviously, this game has kind of taken a turn for the worst in terms of interest level. But, yeah, I'm going to continue to at least point out the fact that we're hoping that the Jets can find a way. We want the AFC to beat the NFC a vast majority of the time. So Jets, Cowboys, going to hope that Zach Wilson can do something. But I think we all know how it is overwhelmingly likely to end up. Okay, we got another 125 start. It's the Commanders and the Broncos. I always say, whenever you have AFC versus NFC, you're probably going to want to root for the AFC. Now, this is where some people may disagree with me because of the Broncos draft pick situation. But if you're trying to figure out what you would rather have between maybe improving your third round pick slightly and actually improving the current team's chances of having a good season, I think it's kind of a no-brainer. You got to go with having a better season right now. So, yeah, we actually want the Broncos to win this week because of that situation revolving around the Commanders. We want the Commanders to not start 2-0. Now, I think it's unlikely the Commanders are going to be there at the end of the season anyway, but hey, If they start out 2-0, you got to at least look at them and go, hey, maybe they've got something going on there. Maybe that's a playoff spot that they're going to take that another team won't be able to take. I think that's more important. Okay. So 5:20 p.m. Sunday Night Football, we got Dolphins Patriots. AFC versus AFC. Root for whoever you want to. I don't really think it matters that much. There's no draft pick stuff going on here. There's no schedule stuff. We don't play either team. Like, I can't really figure this one out. There's a lot of games like that this week, guys, and that's going to happen from time to time. And then Monday night we got Saints Panthers. First of all, at 4:15. So Monday night Saints Panthers. Let's think this one through here. Both teams in the NFC. Saints won in the first week. Panthers lost. So if we want all these teams to kind of crash into each other and just and all of them just kind of end up jostling around in the middle, we probably want the Panthers to win. And there's also the tiny draft pick consideration where the Saints may end up giving us their third round pick this year. It depends on a few factors, but I think for those two reasons, probably want the Panthers to win. We also would prefer the Panthers don't come into week 3 at an 0-2 record. At an 0-2 record, they're going to be desperate for a win, and that's not something we need to be dealing with. Okay, final game this week, Browns-Steelers. We play both teams this year. Given that it's both, it doesn't really affect the scheduling stuff that much. If one team wins, the other team has to lose, right? And it's not like we play either team in a couple weeks, so it's not like we're going to have to worry about, oh, they're going to be mad because they lost, or, oh, they're going to be feeling themselves too much because they won, or anything like that. So I think this is another kind of free-for-all situation. I'm not seeing the relationship between the Seahawks and this Browns-Steelers game. All right, that's what I got. Let me know what you think. See you guys later. Go Hawks.